guys, Wendell Sailor for PNGBet.com, and welcome to round 9 of Big Dell's Tips. Well, what a start to the week we have. Thursday night footy, the Bunnies up against the Storm. Well, in round 1, these two teams, they had a pretty good clash. The Storm got out of the blocks really quickly, and the Bunnies tried to run them down. I think in that game, that corresponding game, it was 26-18. But the Bunnies showed enough for me to warrant a threat, which they have been most of the season. They're looking pretty good. Got a couple of injuries at the moment. Adam Reynolds is obviously not there, but they bring in, Benji will go to halfback and Cody Walker at 5'8", so that's not too bad at all. So when you have those two players there, you're always a chance. They're playing some really good football, especially on the road. They went to Gold Coast, did the job there, went down to Canberra, did the job in the cold down there, where Canberra's got a really good record on them down there. But this is a different beast. This is a different beast on Thursday night. They're up against the Storm, the juggernaut. I think they average about 32 points a game at the moment. They're playing some great football. Obviously, Pappenhausen isn't back yet. Nico Hines is doing a really good job there. But on the back of Hughes and Munster, their halves are getting them around. Their forwards are laying a wonderful platform for them. But just their bench. Big Nelson off the bench. Kamikamitha, the big Fijian, and Dell Finucane. That's a strong bench. And that's where the Bunnies have got to hold them. The Bunnies have got to hold them or beat them through the middle if they're going to beat them, because we know what they can do in the backs. Last week, Remus Smith scored a hat-trick, so this is going to be one of the games this season, I think, because we knew in round 1 what these two teams had. Start of the year, people have said these two teams were going to be the favourites up there with the Panthers. So when I look at these prices, well, I tell you what, I think this flatters the Melbourne Storm. I know they're a good side, but $1.36, that's way too short. Mate, it's nice and juicy if you're a Bunny supporter or you think you like good odds. $2.87 for the Bunnies. I think they've won 7 or 8 in a row at the moment, or they're going for 8 in a row. Playing some really good football on the back of their forward pack. Matungi and that, they're playing some really good football on the edge. Big Colin Matungi, the young edge back rower, doing some wonderful things there along with Jaden Sewer. Really aggressive. So for me, I can't go past the Melbourne Storm to win this one. I'm going Melbourne Storm, just giving the 5.5 start, because I give the Bunnies a chance here. But Melbourne Storm at the line, minus 5.5 for $1.66. So I reckon the Melbourne Storm will get this one. But still, the Bunnies, with a few troops down, they'll go close. Friday night, we start off with the Panthers versus Sharks. And the Panthers, they're the hunted. Every week teams are coming to get them. Manly last week did a really good job to take it to them out there at Bathurst. They played some really good football, Manly, but once again, the Panthers just found a way to win on the back of guys like Brian To'o and Cleary gets them around so easily. Real tough defence, and their forwards, they're playing some really good football. Isaiah Yeo just doing what he does, but there's Spencer Leniu, he's playing some really good football, that young Samoan front rower. So I look at this Sharks team. I know there's a lot of promise there, but as soon as they announced their new coach and then John Morris was sort of pushed aside, there has been something missing from the Sharks at the moment. They got 40 odd points put against them in Melbourne last week, but at half time they were leading against Melbourne. For me, the second half decline, it's been happening to a lot of teams, and it's happened to the Sharks a few times this year. So the Sharks have got a good squad there. I don't think they can go close to the Panthers at Bluebet Stadium. I'm liking the way that Apikorisio has just come back. He hasn't missed a beat. He offers a different dimension to the Panthers. So well done to the Panthers. Jesus is short. Panthers are $1.09. The Sharks are $6.15 if you want some of that. Where I'm leaning towards, the Panthers are on at the moment. I'm minus 20, so at the line for $2. Can't go past the Panthers at the moment. They're attacking from everywhere. They're doing what they need to do. Their forwards are just so aggressive and so skillful. And I just look at this Cronulla side. They'll compete with a lot of teams, but they just won't go with the big teams like the Panthers, Melbourne, Parramatta. So for me, it's the Panthers for this one. The Sharks, good luck. The round 9 clash, Friday night, Eels versus the Roosters. Two of the heavyweights here, and it's been a tumultuous week for the Roosters, unfortunately. One of the greatest wingers to ever play the game, Brett Morris doing his ACL. Brett Morris, a great young talent. When I first went to the Dragons, I loved what he's done through his career. Talk about some of the great winners in the game. He's certainly one of those. So I really feel for B Moz. Obviously, young Lindsay Collins, the Origin front rower. He's also done his ACL. The Roosters have been unlucky the last probably 12 months. I think in another game there was Sam Verrills and Victor Radley. They both did their ACLs out of Bankwest Stadium. So it's unfortunate for the Roosters. They keep getting injuries, but they keep finding ways to win on the back of the young kids like Sam Walker. I think he had 4 try assists last week and a try. The kid's amazing. He's only 18. But, they're a different beast this week. They're going up against a team called the Parramatta Eels, who've only dropped 1 game this year, and I think that was to the Dragons. So I look at guys like Clint Gutherson, who's playing really well from the back. They're forwards that are laying the platform. Isaiah Papali'i, one of the finds of the season, really aggressive through that middle third as well. And what a back row there too, with Ryan Madison and Nathan Brown. But their front row are doing a good job with Reid Marnie getting them around. So I have a look at that Rooster side. That Rooster side is still a good side. You've got Josh Morris, Joseph Manu, and even their forward pack. Victor Radley will lead the way there. Who do I see winning this game? Well, I'm going to go with the Eels this week. I think the Eels have showed me enough. I'm going to take the Eels minus the 6 at $2. So the Eels are favourites at $1.54. The Sydney Roosters are $2.33. So Bankwest Stadium, that's why I'm leaning it towards that way. Even though the Dragons sort of dished them up there a few weeks ago, I think the Panthers, they're a different side at the moment. There's a bit of a mindset there on the back of guys like Mitchell Moses and Clint Gutherson. They're not content to be a top 4 side. And I have to give special mention to Tom Opacek. He's a player that's been at a few clubs, but he's doing some good work there. I think he's been to more clubs than Slim Dusty, but well done, young Tom Opacek. Oh, once again, I love this. The Raiders up against the Knights. 2 teams who have struggled of late. The Raiders, they need to find their mojo and find it real quickly. It hasn't been a good week for the Raiders. Obviously dished up by South Sydney Rabbitohs at home, and then having some news that George Williams, their star halfback, who was actually injured, injured his hamstring in the warm-up, which I know is not a laughing matter, but he's saying he's a bit homesick now, so he wants to go back to the UK. So that's not good news for the Raiders. They had John Bateman, I think, last year. That happened to John Bateman as well. So I know they've got a few English players there, but the boys are getting a bit homesick. But they've got to find their mojo real quick. Josh Papali'i got rested last week. He comes back in. So that'll give them the starch that they need. Because at the moment, they're going with teams, but they're falling apart in different places. So they could have a 15-minute spurt, and then for 10 minutes, they'll fall away, and they find it hard to get their rhythm. And I suppose it's not too bad. They're going out to Wagga Wagga, and they're up against the Knights. The Knights have been playing great football. They got beaten by, I think, 38-40 points by the Roosters on Saturday night, sorry. And then you get Kalen Ponga. They're relying too much. I think I said that before. The guys like Bradman Best, they got to get him early ball. If you get him early ball, he can do his things. He's got great footwork. He can kick. He's got great power. So Bradman Best is one of their strike players. Get him early ball is my key. Their forward pack, it's a good forward pack, but they're not scaring them at the moment. They're not being aggressive. They're not holding the ball, and that way other teams are dominating them. So for me, I look at this Canberra side. Whitehead goes to the back row. Corey Harawira-Naira is back there as well. It's going to be a tough game, I think, for both sides because they both need to find that form. But look, I think for me, Canberra Raiders, that's a short price for a team that has been playing well. Raiders are $1.48. Newcastle Knights $2.45. I like the $2.45 by Newcastle Knights, but I just think there's more upside to the Canberra Raiders at the moment. They're a bit embarrassed at the moment the way they're playing, and their window is closing very quickly. So for me, Canberra Raiders, I think I'll take that at the minus 6.5 for the $2. But Newcastle scare me because if they put it together, they can beat most teams in this competition, but they just can't get it together at the moment, unfortunately. So Adam O'Brien, he's got his work cut out there to try and get him back in the winner's circle. Hello guys, Wendell Sailor here, and what a match we have for you. The West Tigers up against the Titans. Well, the West Tigers, what's happening there? Just when you think they're done and dusted and they can't find something, they go to Wollongong and they beat the Dragons 16-8. Dragons are obviously coming 6th or 7th, I think, at the moment. But the Tigers, they find a way to beat the Dragons. I know the Dragons had a couple of players suspended. Zach Lomax got injured early. But once again, on the back of guys like Joey Leilua, they found a way to score tries and they found a way to win. But I reckon also their forward pack were really aggressive through the middle, and they took the St. George Dragons, or Illawarra Dragons, out of their comfort zone, which you have to down there. But once again, the Titans, we know they can score tries. We know they can score from anywhere. Against the Broncos last week, I think they scored the first 3 or 4 tries or something. It was 22-0, and then all of a sudden, they had to defend, and they couldn't defend. That's their problem at the moment. We've seen it time and time again. Manly ran through them, and they've just got to be better. I think we know they've got some very talented players, but they've got to be better, the Titans. Oh, where do I go here? It's a Campbelltown Sports Stadium. Look, I'm going to have to go with the Titans here. I don't trust the Tigers enough. The Titans are $1.53. West Tigers are $1.36. I'm going the Titans minus the 2.5 for $1.70. I think that's a good price. Hello guys, Wendell Sailor here. Cowboys versus the Broncos. Well, the Cowboys, in the first half, they didn't offer that much against the Warriors, but then in the second half, they nearly run them down. I think they were down 24-4, ended up coming up short 24-20. That's rugby league, and that's the way it is, but they know how to score points, the Cowboys, but it's their defence that's letting them down at the moment. So it's okay to score tries from anywhere on the field, but you've got to learn to be control your defence and stop teams scoring points, because the Broncos are in the same position, but you know they obviously allowed the Titans some early points in that game, 22 points, and I think they scored 36 or 38 points or something. But you know, defence is an attitude, and at the moment, both these teams, their attitude in defence is not really there at the moment. So they're going to have to trust one another, the individual players in this team, to get them out of the holes. Valentine Holmes is starting to get back to where he should be now. He's trying some great passes, making some great runs. And by the same token, Asako, he's been their key man in the last couple of weeks. I know that they've been giving raps to Payne Haas, but Jermaine Asako from the back, he's doing some elusive stuff, some electric things, flick passes, and their wingers are doing a good job too. Xavier Coates and Corey Oates, I think he scored his first try in about a year and a bit. So the big Origin winger took the intercept and couldn't be stopped. But well done to Kevin Walters, because as I said last week, I think they had four different halves partners this year at the Broncos, and then he went with Milford, who was recalled, with young Tyson Gamble. He's played 3 games, I think, in about 3 years there, and he was really aggressive. He just wanted the game, and that's what I want to see from these young Broncos. I want them to want that jersey and to want to win. So they showed that last week up against the Cowboys up there at Townsville. Who do I go with? This is a tough one. You know, Taumalolo, he's hard to handle. Unfortunately, even though the Broncos did a good job last week, I'm going to go with the Cowboys here. I just think the Cowboys can get the job done. The Broncos are paying $2.45. Local derby, as we saw last Friday night with the Broncos Titans, anything can happen. Cowboys at $1.48. I'm going with the Cowboys this week at not at the $1.48. I'm giving them -7 starts, so at the line for $2. I just think the Cowboys, there's so much more upside to the way they're playing at the moment. And with the Broncos, they're a bit like the Tigers. They're a bit hot and cold. So as much as I want the Broncos to win, I just think the Cowboys to me at home, and I just think they'll win by 2 tries. Well, hi, Wendell Sailor here for PNGBet.com, and the mighty Seagulls up against the Warriors. Well, the Seagulls we saw in Bathurst, there's a lot of upside to the way they're playing at the moment. Not just with Tommy Trbojevic, but also their young backs. You know, Saab scored an unbelievable try there. I think he beat 2 or 3 players down the right-hand side. Ruben Gary's playing some really good football. But once again, their forwards are just getting around the field. They're being strong. They're holding their own. Jake Trbojevic is leading from the front there. But at the back, Tommy Turbo, he's doing magic things. They can't stop him. He's worth about, I think, 10 or 12 points to your team. But look, they're at home. They're against the Warriors. The Warriors are playing some really good football. I'm so impressed with this young kid, Reece Walsh. We talk about Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, and so we should be, but we know what we expect from Roger. Week in, week out, he's going to be either, he's not your best Warriors player, he's your top 3 Warriors players. But I like the way that he's playing at the moment. He's leading them around at the moment, RTS. But Reece Walsh, for a kid who's only played 3 or 4 first grade games, made so much confidence for an 18-year-old. Watching him and Sam Walker play the way they're playing, and their forward pack, they're doing an okay job. This is where they fall away. Same thing happened last week. They started off well, and all of a sudden they come in the second half, and then the Warriors nearly fell apart. They nearly lost that game to the Cowboys. Where am I looking? Well, I look at these forward packs, I look at the benches. I think it's a pretty even matchup here. And we go to the prices. Well, we know Manly's playing at home. They're hard to beat at home. $1.42. The Warriors $2.65. It's not a bad price for the Warriors. Look, I'm going to go with Manly Seagulls at the line. So minus the 8, $1.96. Can't go past Manly at home. They don't get beaten too much at home, especially when Tommy Turbo's playing. I think their winning percentage when he plays is 72%. That's a pretty good winning percentage when you've got Tommy Turbo at the back. So I'm on the Manly boys. Well, here we are, Sunday, 4 o'clock game at Netstrata Jubilee. It is the Dragons versus the Bulldogs. Well, the Dragons, they would have had a long week to think about this. They should have beaten the Tigers last week. They've had a couple of injuries. They've still got a couple of players suspended. Zach Lomax is going to be out for, I think, 6 to 8 weeks. Unfortunate for the young man because they were looking at him to play Origin this year. He was certainly in the mix. He was scoring a lot of tries. He was kicking a lot of goals. And is playing tough in defence. So unfortunate for the Dragons fans and Zach, but Jack Bird obviously in the centres there, and Tyrell Fumiano, he'll be there too. So for me, I look at the Dragons. They've got a really good side, but they just dropped off. I think they've lost 4 in a row now. So that's not good for the Dragons, but I think they're still sitting about 7th or 8th or 6th or 7th or something like that. So for me, and I have a look at this Bulldogs side. The Bulldogs have found something. Even though Parramatta dished them up last week, they're starting to get their combinations together. We saw what they did the week before against Cronulla. It's a really good outside 5, but it's ball security, that's the key. If you can keep that ball secure, your field position is key. You go a long way to winning, especially against the Dragons, because the Dragons were taken out of their comfort zone last week, which they didn't like. They just seem to have not as much energy as they've had over the last probably 5-6 weeks, the Dragons, and that's because they've been up for so long against Parramatta, against the Roosters. But these are the sides that they need to beat. If they want to be in the finals contention end of the season, you've got to take the Bulldogs. You can't take them too lightly. But the Bulldogs always find something for the Dragons. Let me tell you, I've played them many times. So looking at the prices here, well, I agree. Dragons at home, they're $1.27. Bulldogs, $3.40. Where am I leaning? I'll go the Dragons minus the 12 for $1.96. That's where I'm going. I reckon the Dragons will get the job done this week. I reckon they'll be a little bit embarrassed after that loss to the Tigers down there at Wollongong, or Wynn Stadium, I should say. That's Big Dell's tips for round 9. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Good luck, punters. Yeah, sexy guys.